Over to Ash. Give it up for Ash. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'll tell you. No, this is good.
Okay. So, as soon as you're ready, we'll just...
I'll tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, you tell.
So, I know many people expect me to be funny and things like that. I actually wanted to talk to you about my love story with my wonderful partner, my wife, Maria. A story that began 4 years ago, and I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, and it's very poignant that the days, you know, that it's today, the 24th of February, that it's happening in February, and I spoke, it'll all make sense in a minute. But since there's been so much love this evening, I'm just really humbled. I'm also a vegan, I love animals, I'm so thrilled to see people even clapping for, you know, this makes my heart very full to see that people are even appreciating the love of animals. I'm also a big fan of humanity and not just the animals. And I think we should also treat each other kindly and love each other. So I just want to start by saying I love you all very much. Yeah, I do. But since you do expect me to be funny, just remember there's a lot of love here at Pecha Kucha. In fact, if this was a Bollywood film, Ravi, it would be called Kucha Kucha Hota Hai. So that was my one joke for the day. I'm sorry. All right, we can start. All right. Hello, happy souls. Today I'm happy to share with you our journey of love, how Pecha Kucha has been part of it, and how the months of February and September are part of it. It's been what appears to be several coincidences. I really am not buying that anymore. I used to kind of think that things are coincidences, but okay. In the beginning, I was 100% sure that after my divorces and my brush with mortality, I was done with love in the way we usually think of it. But as the wise man Gibran Khalil Gibran said, do not attempt to direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, will direct your course. And this is something that I needed to really learn. Because when I met my love, Maria, back in 2014, in February, she asked me when my birthday was. I told her it was the 19th of Feb, but I also considered the 4th of September my birthday, because that's when I had that motorcycle crash. I stopped breathing, and yeah, they thought I was gone, and you know, they had to resuscitate me. And so I said, she goes, that's my birthday, the 4th of September, and that was our first conversation ever. And of course, at this time, I was safe in my tower, espousing singledom, denouncing the pitfalls of love and ownership and the entitlement which always came after. She, on the other hand, was unafraid and truly in the moment. Sparks flew. I consciously built on our friendship, which was to last forever. A romance, meanwhile, was doing its own thing. Every minute, a date. Every second, a honeymoon. Some friendship. The things we tell ourselves, folks. We really are too funny. And this has been going on for a few months. She went away to Bali, I went to the States, we stayed in touch, we counseled each other about life as good friends do. We conspired songs and screenplays, created so much art, we laughed a lot. And in September, I was speaking at my first Pecha Kucha. And guess who had flown in earlier from Ukraine just to see me speak at that thing? Maria. And guess who had no idea, who was so thick, I had no idea she'd come back just for that? Yeah. But it didn't stop me from feeling a deep sense of well-being. And she ended up speaking at Pecha Kucha that November. And it began again, the honeymoon. I remember looking at her and saying, I wish I had been kinder, more open. She said that despite my walls, I had tended to be very kind and affectionate and open. But of course, she said it wasn't our time. Dark clouds, tears, global pandemic, we were on separate continents again. The pandemic constantly showed me how silly I'd been to ignore the signs earlier. I was genuinely starting to miss her, was always maintaining the veneer of good friend. She went off to Montenegro by herself. She took me with her on FaceTime. It was real, it was virtual, it was directing my course. The time had come to take chances again. The world was going crazy, I had to let love in. She was unlike anyone I'd met, she could only tell me the truth. I had to see her. And then, in the middle of the pandemic, in one of the coldest winters, I flew to Kiev. We were united again. Her city was like her, glorious, inclusive, progressive, and full of love and romance. To have had those weeks when we were usually the only diners at a place or have a whole museum to ourselves was only the stuff that dreams were made of. Absolutely amazing. And now, it was time for me to go back to Atlanta. We decided to come back to Goa. This was Feb 21, and everyone had forgotten the pandemic. Events were back. People were only hugging and kissing. They'd all taken some vaccine called code denial. And they all believed now that they had herd immunity. They heard somewhere there was immunity. And let's just say, it was my birthday again, February, and it was midnight. My love, who's also a wonderful actress, singer, dancer, and director, pulled this out at midnight as my gift. Her first portrait, and it was of me. That was humbling, it was beautiful. Of course, it started a very unhealthy competition between us because now I had to do better. And as both creative people, we tended to do that. Of course, the pandemic hadn't forgotten the people, and the herd was thinning all over, and India was suddenly searching for hospital beds. It was time to leave again to be with our families and our respective countries. So I spent the next few months missing her, and in September, this time I flew to Kiev again for her birthday. But this time, I woke her up at 7 a.m., the coffee ready. I was already in my tux, because who doesn't pick a tux to go to Kiev? I'd written her a song in 7 languages. She loved it. I sat there and sang the whole thing. She clapped and she goes, I've also written you a song. Telling you, this competition, very, very unhealthy. Kiev and Maria both had my heart. I let love in, and a world where nothing was predictable. I felt more alive and stable than ever before. We had our life in Kiev, full of love, music, art, food, great new friends. And did I mention love? Because, yeah, it was just one of the most, by the way, that's the, she's the director of the Philharmonic in Ukraine. She's a dear friend now. It was time to come back to Goa, and suddenly, it was another birthday, and this time, enters my wedding planner, Mr. Vladimir Putin. Because we had never talked about getting married or making this formal. We had never talked about anything. And suddenly we're in India, and he goes in and invades our country exactly 1 year ago today. And yeah, I'd met her family and all of that, and so we decided, okay, well, we're not gonna let paperwork separate us. We're gonna get married. And as two foreigners trying to get married in Goa, I tell you, you really, really want to be married if you get married in Goa. Because, you know, it was a paper trail, had to get witnesses to the court, to the registrar. I had to get these things called RCs and all this kind of stuff. But once we were married, because of so much love around us, our dear friend Pooja, in these very dark and tough times for us, threw us our wedding brunch at the Happy Soul Cafe, the one before this, the earlier avatar of the Happy Soul. So thank you, Pooja. That was such a bright moment in our lives, and so needed at that moment. Thank you very much, guys. And then we grew our family. We added one more partner. We added Mr. A.D. Singh, my dear friend of 25 years, and became partners at the Olive restaurant here in Vagator, and we were able to continue sharing our love of music and food and hospitality with everyone. And today, I got to tell you, folks, you have to let love in, because it is. Some people say like love is in the air. I feel like love is the air. It is every molecule inside you, and it's every molecule between us. It is the air. So if you let it in, I promise you, I'm 51, and I can tell you that you can find love. I mean, because you let it in, and that's what you really need to do with it. And those two people you saw in the statue earlier were a couple, originally Ukrainian. They were separated. There's a statue to them. They lost each other for 50 years, and they found each other again after World War II because of a news article, and they're reunited after 50 years. And I wish you all that their love may sustain with or without each other and everything, and that love will prevail. So once again, I love you all. Thank you.